Hello, welcome back to this video series here on A Course in Miracles. And today we're focusing on Workbook Lesson 267. Yeah, we've come a long way. And you may be just popping in on YouTube and watching this video. Out of all the videos, there are now over 300, and there will be over 400 by the time we finish this workbook, which, as you may know, goes all the way up to lesson 365. That's the beginning of it. No, the end is the beginning, because you realize it's time to go through it again, right? When you hit the end. Spiritual practices like that. It's like watching a movie, your favorite movie, over and over again. It's like reading your favorite novel over and over again. Every time you do, you gain a new understanding. A new layer unveils itself to you. You learn and realize things that you hadn't seen the time before. And this is exactly like that. There will be hundreds of these. So whether you've seen all of them or you're just dropping in, welcome. We're going to talk about the peace of God today. It's a beautiful thing to talk about because it's actually beyond words. So what I'm doing is I'm merely pointing. As a teacher, that's all we do. As a teacher, that's all you do is point. Everyone else that you're interacting with has to walk the path themselves. In other words, you can't choose love for them as much as you would like to sometimes. And believe me, that is a very real temptation here in the world, isn't it? To want to shake someone awake. Yet you can deliver the most heartfelt, most profound and impactful message, and it's still up to the people hearing the message to put it into action. It still is. And this is good. It's a good thing. And that should be cause for celebration, because that means that we have retained, as we always will, our free will. No one can make decisions for us or force us to do something on the spiritual path that we don't want to do. Because what happens if the Holy Spirit were to just pop in and take away all our illusions without our consent? We would resent, wouldn't we? We'd feel like it wasn't our choice or our idea. And it needs to be, doesn't it? It needs to be. So it's up to each of us to walk the path. Now, happily, we have some very beautiful teachings existent in the world. A Course in Miracles is just one of those. There are many. You may follow many others. You may be intimately aware of and familiar with many other spiritual traditions because they're out there. They're out there. And that is one of the most beautiful things, in my mind, about living in the 21st century. We have all of this at our disposal. All we have to do is turn on our computer, turn on our cell phones, and look up this information. See what resonates with us. Perhaps my message really resonates with you. Then I encourage you to follow along and follow me. If it doesn't resonate with you, great. Find something that does, because there's going to be something that does. How do I know that? Well, even if it takes the rest of this lifetime for you to find that something, find it, you will, whether it's in this lifetime or not. Could be the next. How do I know? Well, because all of us are on the path. It's our destiny, collective, individual and collective. It's actually the same. It's our destiny to wake up. Let's talk about lesson 267 in that context, because it fits perfectly. Lesson 267 is, my heart is beating in the peace of God. My heart is beating in the peace of God. God is love. Yes, you may have been taught that, or you may have heard that growing up or as an adult. Love is all there is, and you're a part of it. It's who you are. Our heart is beating in the peace of God. God is life itself. If only God is, then God is all things, life itself. Everything we see can, and I hope does, remind us of the love of God. It reminds us of our own beauty, our own inherent, essential beauty, our own love, our own limitlessness, our own abundance, yes, our own generosity. Everything we see can, and I hope for you, does remind you of that. It can remind us of that. As I always do, I strongly invite you to read and reread, if you want to, if it speaks to you, the commentary that accompanies this idea. It's only one paragraph in length, yet it's beautiful and profound. Everything that we see around us is a reminder to practice. It should, it can, and should inspire us to practice. When we look at the world, when we look at a beautiful tree, for example, right now, I'm looking out a window at a park with eucalyptus trees. They're very tall eucalyptus trees, mature trees. There's a park with grass. There's blue sky, lots of natural light. In case you're wondering, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. There's always lots of blue sky and lots of natural light, almost always. So I'm looking on beautiful things. As you look out your window today, or as you take a walk in nature, or just sit quietly in a chair, relaxing, I invite you to consider everything that you see, everything that you feel, hear, taste, smell, touch, everything you intuit, everything that you experience. I invite you to consider that as an opportunity, an invitation to practice, an invitation to forgive, an invitation to be the miracle worker that you are. You are. It's all right if you don't feel like it. I insist that you are. And Jesus insists that you are too. So we're all on the path to uncovering that, yeah, and owning it. So I hope you're doing that. I invite you to see everything as an opportunity to extend love. And again, as we've talked about here in some of these past videos, anything you see that's beautiful can and should remind you of your abundance as Christ, of your love. Should remind you of who you are. So I invite you to keep that in mind as you look upon the beauty of life itself today. Now, on the other hand, you may have, and most likely will have, a number of disconcerting experiences today, painful experiences today, situations where you don't feel good. What are those but an invitation to practice? It's an opportunity to forgive. When you are not feeling at your most joyful, it's an opportunity to forgive. There's something there to be looked at and forgiven, given to the Holy Spirit. That's your role. And when 5 minutes later, or as it often turns out, 5 seconds later, you experience abundance and joy, it's an opportunity to extend gratitude, to extend love, to give thanks. Everything is an opportunity for practice. And as the commentary here for lesson 267 so beautifully puts it, it's every heartbeat, every breath, beautiful. So it's an invitation for you to see beauty and to feel life and to give thanks for that and extend that love outward through your forgiveness. It's an invitation to practice and an acknowledgement that we all need from time to time on the path, don't we? It's an acknowledgement that the entire world that we inhabit, supposedly, apparently, right? Everything that we see and experience is an opportunity for us to practice and to give thanks that this lesson is true. My heart is indeed beating in the peace of God. All right. Thank you all very much for joining me. And well, we'll see you back here as we continue with the workbook.